N.V.Ramana, a former Chief Justice of India, the moving spirit behind the Hyderabad International Arbitration and Mediation Center. It was almost 2 years back when he became a Chief Justice, or just before he became a Chief Justice. He spoke to me about having an international center in Hyderabad, taking into account the interest of the government in improving the economy in this state. So I told him that having such a center would be very good, because world over, arbitrations and other alternate dispute resolutions are institutionalized. Only in this country we are having too many ad hoc arbitrations, and there was a recommendation also made by Justice Sri Krishna Committee that institutional arbitrations, with all its advantages, should be promoted in this country. So thank you, Justice Ramana, for being an inspiration to all of us in promoting this center. Justice Hima Kohli, she was the Chief Justice of this court initially when we started this. I remember her, in spite of having her own work, she was going around even to find out a building for the purpose of this center. She took immense interest right from day one. And though being a Chief Justice of this High Court, she was on the board, we thought that it would be fit that she should come on to the board even after her elevation to the Supreme Court. Justice Raveendran, he has spent hours together in getting the rules ready. There were discussions which were never-ending. Apart from that, the interest that he has in this center was evident in his going into even small details in most of our meetings. Without him, I could not have been here for the last 2 years, and the institution would not be like this without his cooperation. George Lim, I met him in Singapore a year back when I went there. He was very courteous. He met me with all others from the Singapore International Mediation Center. I gave him a proposal that we want to work with him, and we needed their cooperation to make mediation more acceptable in this country. He readily agreed that he would be willing to assist us in making mediation more popular in this country, which would be an appropriate dispute resolution. And about 4 months back, when I spoke to him, I said that it would be better that we have a training session for about 2 days here. And people from the industry, general counsel, from law firms, and some senior counsel would be benefited by the training that would be given by George Lim and his team. He readily accepted. We had a 2-day training session yesterday and the day before. I interacted with the participants and trainees. All of them are extremely happy that they have come here. And some of them told me that they would have missed so much if they were not here. Equally, Mr. George and his team are highly appreciative of the trainees for the interaction, for the interest that they took in the training session. Thank you, George Lim, and V. Meng, CEO, Gregory Vijayender, Senior Counsel, and Seng Ong, former Executive Director, Singapore Mediation Center. We acknowledge your presence here, and on behalf of the Hyderabad International Arbitration and Mediation Center, thank you very much. Why this center? Why did we have to start an arbitration center in Hyderabad. And why an arbitration center? See, the question which we were asking initially was taking into account that there is an imperative need to offload the burden in the courts, especially in India, and the need for a swift and efficient alternate dispute resolution mechanism. That was the idea with which we started the center. I should confess that initially our focus was on arbitration, but we thought that we should include mediation also along with arbitration, because we thought the future mediation might be a better alternate remedy than arbitration, which is as cumbersome as litigation. I think this is the only center in India where we have arbitration and mediation together. I'm told that there are about 34 centers in India, some of them doing very well, some of them trying to pick up, but most of them focus on arbitration. There might be mediation centers also where they focus on mediation. But we are a mixture of both and make a good progress. We have done about 33 matters, 10 arbitrations and 23 mediations. But the heartening thing is that we have done disputes worth $700 million. So this is something which even we trusted. My friends from Singapore would vouch that even the Singapore International Arbitration Center took more than about 10 years, 15 years for them to start doing well. Thanks to the cooperation of everyone, especially the judges of the High Court who are present in good number here, more than what we expected. And the future looks very promising, especially on the mediation front. Persons who have undergone training and the others who are also interested in doing mediation. Let me tell you that mediation is not an old boys club. It can't be restricted to a few people. It can't be restricted to the legal profession also. There is a misnomer that arbitrations and mediations can be done only by people from the legal profession. Let me tell you, my friends, domain expertise is very important in both arbitrations as well as mediation, mainly mediation. Take Hyderabad. We have a growing construction industry here, and there are thousands and thousands of disputes. A person who is well versed in construction would be a better mediator than a lawyer. And I should confess, we were told when we were judges that judges do not make good mediators. Only to take up the challenge, I underwent 2 courses to find out why judges can't become good mediators. That's also a misnomer. I have a request from Justice Raveendran, along with his colleagues, who are planning for a mediation course for the High Court judges in the vacation. I welcome that. Judges have to be trained. Yesterday, George Lim was telling us that he went to Fiji to train judges there. This is how people would learn the importance of mediation. And after I underwent the course in mediation, as was asked by the participants yesterday, apart from what they have learned on the subject of mediation, the question that would be asked by these leaders would be as to whether they have become better individuals after the training, whether they have developed a different perspective of life, learning what empathy is, trying to find out what the problems of the persons is, dealing with them with patience, and not imposing a person on the others, but otherwise facilitating a settlement. All these things are to improve your own personality. So this is what they would have asked you yesterday. I'm sure all of you who have participated in this training would go back as better individuals apart from being qualified mediators. And George Lim has promised all of you, I think, that you will be empaneled in the Singapore International Mediation Center. Please spread the word. Singapore International Mediation Center is not a small body. They do cross-border mediations worth billions and billions of dollars. So even professionally also for lawyers, that would be a very good opportunity to interact, learn, and also make a living for yourself. Thank you very much.